Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the ESL studios here in Leicester, UK. We're back with more Heroes of the Storm Nexus games. This is a tournament unlike any we've seen before, focusing a lot on, national pride and teams rocking their country's colors in open battle. And I'm pretty excited for the next couple of rounds. We just saw Italy dismantle Team Finland, which was something nobody really expected to come here. And for the next best of three, guys, we have Germany versus Belgium. And to be honest, I have no idea who to give sway to.
You mentioned rocking your country's colours, two countries with the exact same colours in a slightly different order and a slightly different axis. But either way, both teams that have a couple of recognisable players and look really solid. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so on Germany's side, we have Nunia, who's definitely an esports veteran. He's been a League of Legends player for a long time. He casted some there, and then he's rolled over to Heroes. He played in quite a few amateur tournaments, especially back in the alpha and beta phase of the game. And now he's here. So he's definitely looking to lead his team to glory. Probably looking for a Tracer pick, I would say. That's his favorite hero for sure. Meanwhile, on Belgium's side, we actually have Toulouse and I had Rabia, who I mentioned before the break, but talking about them specifically, I had Rabia is known to be quite an emotional player. So depending on how this series starts, that could tell us a lot about how it's going to continue.
Yeah, and focusing on the Germans a little bit more here, because I got to give a little bit something to them. To me, Team Germany is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. We can not really expect anything, but they can also, by the same token, surprise us really well. As you said, Nunia, longtime veteran, knows how to lead teams, plays a splendid Tracer. That's expected, though. I think Team Belgium has a counter strategy prepared just for that.
Yeah, we will definitely have to see what they do have to bring in terms of strategies and counter strategies.
Yeah.
But we've already we were talking about it beforehand. Belgium needs this in terms of group statistics.
So Belgium is looking to make it out of this group. They have a fantastic chance to be either second or third, or even possibly first. But to do that, they need to beat Germany. Germany's the expected last seed from this group, so this is a must-win matchup for them.
Exactly. So every win matters, exactly, especially when you play against a bottom-tier team, quote-unquote, as much as it pains me to say that, like Germany. The first map has been decided, ladies and gentlemen. It is once again going to be Infernal Shrines. So we see a lot of familiar strategies once again, although I would love to see a little bit more global pressure coming out. In China, for example, we see still defying all the odds, a lot of Illidan play, going for the hunt, really forcing attention elsewhere. Do you think that's something we can maybe expect here? Not necessarily Illidan, but global plays in general.
It's definitely possible. Global plays in general, the Haka still works. Brightwing, we've been seeing banned most of the games, so we still see that global possibility. Illidan, not sure, but he does fit into a situation where if you're drafting for Tracer and haven't picked it up early, Illidan is one of those heroes who can fit into that style of composition. So it's a chance. It's just a question of which way the draft goes and whether teams are prepared to counter it.
See what you did there. Whether they're prepared. I think teams here in the Nexus game, they may very well be.
Moving swiftly on from that. So talking about globals, I think the Hacker's a definite possibility. We haven't really seen him, right? Like he's mysteriously missing from this tournament. So I hope he unburrows soon, and we can see him in this game. He's great on Infernal Shrines.
Absolutely, and I think Infernal Shrines, as you said, is just a perfect battleground, a perfect home turf for that Dehaka. Something else I wanted to highlight is already the variety of supports coming in here. We saw Stukov coming out. We've seen almost any support, Lucio being picked here. So do you think we're going to deviate from that? Maybe pick out Morales here and there, maybe Ariel? We haven't seen Ariel at all in this tournament thus far.
Definitely possible.
And she wasn't even banned.
Yeah, definitely possible. Ariel on this map especially can still work out very nicely with just pair with a Valor or someone like that. Just get that energy count up. And Morales, we were talking about Zul Jin earlier. It's potentially one of those hyper carries people could be going for. Pair Zul Jin with Ariel, and you're going to have a pretty wonderful time.
Baker, you told me a very interesting story about Team Germany before this game started, featuring their player Minx.
Yeah, so Minx, he actually started playing the game around 7 to 8 months ago. So he's almost brand new.
Yeah.
And he's already climbed up to the upper tiers of ladder play, and here he is in his first competitive tournament. So I'm really excited to see what he can bring with that fresh perspective.
You have actually been in a situation where you've had a teammate with actually a slightly similar story.
Yeah, I had a similar story myself.
Oh, you did.
Going way back to Alpha Slash
You
Beta.
completely skipped the sort of amateur professional scene and just went straight to professional.
Yeah,
but
when I was forming my second team, Bob
Yeah.
Question Mark, which eventually was signed by Team Dignitas, I actually picked up a Theo Angel, who's
Yeah.
now a staple of the scene, but at the time he'd been playing for only 3 weeks.
yeah,
And
exactly.
he thought Chen was the best hero in the game.
He proved it, kinda. You guys
Yeah.
did really well. So yeah, if you can prove it, if you can stand up to your claims, then why not? Speaking of things that we can't unfortunately stand up to claim, Brightwing has yet to not make it,
again.
into a game.
Poor Blightwing.
Poor Brightwing.
How would you
No
rate her in
friends.
her current state? Still top tier
Bannable.
support level, ban-worthy? Or do you think too many teams are focusing in vain?
I
on that
think
hero?
a lot of teams are overvaluing Brightwing.
Yeah.
So we saw at BlizzCon, she was one of the most hotly contested picks, very high pick priority, very often banned. As it turns out, she had about a 30% win rate. So maybe there's a bit of false positives going on there, and we might be seeing the same thing here, but still, I do buy into the fact that Brightwing is a top tier support. I think it's a perfectly fine ban. I do like the Sonya pickup there. So the Sonya pickup basically means that Germany is going to commit to the easiest style to play on this map.
Yeah.
Which is you commit to the Shrine, you try and win the fight, and in the late game, if you get a Punisher, you can just run at the core, because Sonya has insane core pressure.
And with Brightwing already banned out, she is one of the heroes who could work against Sonya due to her Wrath of the Berserker affecting stuns, slows, roots. Brightwing has a silence and she has a overtime knockback. All things that are going to just completely not be affected by that Wrath of the Berserker. She's a very solid counter, so Sonya, a super solid first pick.
Yeah, and their opponents here, Belgium, they're taking a long time to really make up their minds and find their own first 2 picks here. There's a lot still available that can possibly interrupt the Sonya, like ETC, like Uther, going for double stun and going for the infamous Divine Shield Wombo combo mosh pit.
Holy cow.
Yeah, committing so early. I'm surprised to see the Uther there. I had Vabio, we might have mentioned before, he's a very good Veigar to the point where that's one of the only heroes that he plays, and if you let him have it in Hero League, you can bet money he's picking it. So I'm surprised to see that he opted for Uther over that, but yeah, definitely going to be looking for some form of combo that could be with the Divine Shield Mosh, or it could be something like a Genji or Greymane later.
It could be a double support. If they
It
did
will
still
probably
want
be
the
that as well.
Rhaegar, there is the option of that. So, I mean, you could in theory just go for auto attack Uther Bloodlust if you wanted to go all in on the all in Hero League at platinum level style. Bakery is disgusted at the thought.
Not sure about that one.
Speaking of infamous Hero League combos, what about Malthael here? Where does he fit into this draft? With Uther maybe on his side.
See, I would really like to see a Malthael slightly later down the line for Belgium. So here's my dream combo. Belgium, they're going to pick up Malthael, they're going to pick up Anna, they're going to nano boost, it beats out the Sonya
healing
on the
at all.
Shrine. And you also have Uther and Anna and ETC, which is a very scary pick combo. So I think that could be a fantastic direction for them to go.
I like the sound of that because already we can see Germany. They would potentially like to once again go for a double support like we saw last game. With a Lucio, someone else to get those healing numbers would be brilliant. So if maybe Ana was left till last, but even Malthael would be potentially enough to potentially force away from a double support comp. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. They're both strong picks, so then it becomes a question of how much do I want to show? And I think in this case, they'd be more comfortable showing the Malthael and last picking the Ana.
Yeah. And would Ana work for Germany? Could they steal it away? Probably
It's a little bit of a...
interrupt.
I think they could. I mean, so they have Lucio for the AoE, they have Ana
Extra
for the
healing during
target.
Amp It Up.
Absolutely,
really nice.
healing boost for Amp It Up, and there's also Sound Barrier to keep Ana alive. So they
Yeah.
definitely could go for that, but they might struggle to get full effectiveness from it.
And since we're kind of foreshadowing the Malthael potentially for Team Belgium as well, I think Germany already has a pretty sweet counter to that. You know, the ulti, the level 10 heroic ability, very, very strong in terms of AoE damage. Sound Barrier oftentimes considered to be one of the prime counters next to Sanctification, maybe.
Yeah, Sanctification, and for a short amount of time, people were saying Tranquility, but Twilight Dream's just so good.
And thank you. I never want a Tranquility when you can get game-changing Twilight Dreams like we saw earlier today.
Right, exactly. I mean, even against Malthael, yes,
Yeah.
the healing is going to potentially out-heal the damage from Tormented Souls, or you could silence Malthael so he can't heal and blow him up. a much more potentially effective and quicker solution.
Do keep in mind, though, Uther will be around to provide a potential
Very
Divine
true.
Shield
Very
and
true.
the potential Guardian of Ancient Kings, that 50 armor.
Yep. That is an excellent point, Bakery. That could be scary if we do see that. They've banned out Dan, which is fair with you having Uther on the enemy team. You know that they are more concerned about a cooldown, so they could steal it away. We've seen the Zebo and the Malfurion
Wow.
for them.
Okay,
Also
well,
healing, technically.
those are some off-meta picks for
Yeah.
sure. So
How do you like it here, though? The Nazebo, I mean, we've talked about this hero plenty of times in the past. He's this infamous late-game snowballing monster that many people probably would prefer not to face once he's fully stacked. But you need a strong early game. You need strong rotations to really enable him and to not fall behind too early on, right?
one of the great things about this tournament is that it is the bridge between Hero League
It
and
is.
between the
Really
top
is.
level. And Nazebo is a hero that excels in Hero League, but has never really made that connection. So maybe now we're going to see what Nazebo can bring, and I'm slightly scared. So Sonya, a strong early game hero, and she can end the game very quickly, as opposed to other melee assassins. So Nazebo's definitely got to be on the lookout for that, but if they do make it to that level 20, then it looks like a very scary team composition.
What would be a good pick for Belgium, in your opinion, to potentially delay that game out to the late game? Potentially something more global? They already have ETC.
I'd probably like to see some form of... You can either go for an aggressive second support like Karazim.
They already have 2 supports. That would be a triple support comp.
You can either go for an aggressive third support like Karazim,
MVP
Or-
Black style.
or you can go for a melee assassin, such as the Maltho. It's still on the table. It still can work very well,
Yeah.
especially against Veigar with the... I can't remember exactly what it's called. I think it's Mortal Wound or something like that at level 7.
Yeah, I think it's Mortal
Reducing
Wound.
the healing on Ancestral Healing would be a very effective use of that.
And it
You
would,
could also be seeing a second ranged hero. So they only have a mage in Nazebo right now, and he's not burst damage, he's not
Yeah.
especially sustain either. So you really could commit to either one of those.
that
we see
burst
Kerrigan.
damage. You talked about melee.
That's, yeah, that's
Malthael
burst
would have been
damage,
an
right?
option. Illidan certainly couldn't have been an option because there's too many boops. There's Arthur's on the comp. Kerrigan, on the other hand, a good chunk of ability damage to go with that. And of course, that Maelstrom. It's good engage potential, good follow-up on ETC as well. That is scary as a comp.
So if we go all the way back about 1 month or 1 year and 6 months ago, when we had a tournament in this very studio, the meta at the time on Infernal Shrines was there were 3 dominant melee assassins. One was Illidan, one was Kerrigan, and one was Sonya, and they all countered each other.
Yep. And you
And-
just rotate round through bans and picks, and I think, was that
And
still Cass being banned?
Kerrigan is the Sonya counter. So that's a throwback is what that is. And I'm really excited to see if it would still work out the same way. So what I expect to see is Kerrigan go to the shrine, Sonya go to the shrine, and Kerrigan just avoid the Sonya, jump around, taking all the skulls.
Yeah, play Piggy in the middle with the skeletons. Just
Exactly.
can't catch the Sonya.
So,
Can't catch Kerrigan.
judging from all we've seen in this draft, who would you rather give your support to? Is it D win or B win? Which you guys out there can also vote for, by the way.
I would go for BE win. I believe in the Kerrigan.
You believe in the Kerrigan? Nice to hear. Tetcher, what about you? Are you joining Bakery in his belief?
The Kerrigan's really nice, but I'm still concerned if the organization is going to be enough to deal with that potential early game ending potential that Sonya could offer. So I'm leaning a bit towards the DE win.
Okay, I'm very glad to hear. I'm a little bit skeptical about this Nazebo in this very specific draft because I think that him as this quote-unquote hyper carry with double support behind him may be a little bit slow, may take a little bit long. Also, who's going to go in the solo lane? Is it Nazebo? Kerrigan is not really known to be strong in that aspect, so maybe you're going to deny him, or you're going to have to deny him rotations in order to stack up. So it's a hard decision to make, but leaning towards my German friends here with Nunia and the boys. But you guys out there, once again, hashtag DEWin or hashtag BEWin in Twitch chat if you want to let us know who's basically knowing it best, because we all know Twitch chat always knows best. There's no secret that Twitch chat doesn't know.
The masters of prediction that is Twitch chat, and the numbers game will usually have it.
All right, so once again, Germany. Talk about this team in terms of how experience or lack of experience can really cripple them, or maybe that can be an advantage because nobody has research on them, Bakery.
I think that's the big thing for Germany is you know Nunia, you know he's going to love to play Tracer, but outside of that, you do not have much information, if any, on the rest of their players. And that means that they got to prepare in a vacuum.
Yeah. All right. In a vacuum. Let's check it out if Germany can use that vacuum to their own advantage or if Belgium is going to retaliate and punish them for that. Tetra, introduce us to Team Germany.
I shall indeed, ladies and gentlemen. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is Team Germany, with Bourne on Arthas, Ribby on Lucio, Nunia on the Rhaegar, and a slight pause before we introduce the rest of the players.
Okay, we're going to slow down a little bit. The excitement is real. The players basically maybe have to take a chill pill here, maybe refill the drinks, maybe go for one last panic bio break. You never know. Nexus Games is certainly a very interesting tournament and a very exciting one for the players as well. Because as we said, especially for a team like Germany, where you have a lot of unknown names, people may actually have to fight their own nerves if they have never experienced a pressure situation like that before.
There are some of these players who may have never played in a tournament before. I mean, we were researching some of the teams earlier. I know, for one example, the team will be casting, throughout the coming weeks, Portugal, for example. We could find very little information on them playing in that many tournaments, meaning that a lot of these players, it's going to be, once again, similar to Italy, your first time seeing them in these kind of professional environments.
Yeah, and then Belgium, of course, on the other hand, we have players like Rabio. And I've had a couple of birds tweet at me, birdies before the tournament start, of course. Caster host needs to have his own source of information. And I was told that Rabio, who's supposedly the main support, as Bakery told us earlier, he's an emotional player. If you make him tilt, if you make him feel uncomfortable, you can very well capitalize on potential mistakes that normally wouldn't happen like that.
Remember, guys, to keep voting DE-WIN, hashtag DE-WIN in chat, or hashtag BE-WIN in chat. We will love to see the results. They should apparently come up on screen. We will keep an eye out for those so we can see which way you guys are sending that vote. Because right now, unfortunately, Bakery has run off to get ready for replay. So right now, full Germany table. Yeah.
All right, we're going right back into Infernal Shrines, ladies and gentlemen. The wait is over. Thanks for bearing with us. We really appreciate your patience. And Germany, I'm really excited about this team. I want to make them succeed. I want to make them defy the odds because there was a little bit of a laughter going on when this team was announced because, as we said, not many familiar names.
But now, though, let's redo the teams. Ribby on that Lucio board on Arthas. Nudia on the Rhaegar. In the mid lane, it is Minx playing on the Grey main. And in the top, it's Brain playing the Sonya.
And their opponents in the red trunks, a team to be on the lookout for. We have Enabler, on that Nazebo. Then we have Linfield playing on the Malfrin. We have Rabio playing Uther. As we said, the main support, Taluf, plays on ETC. And Heiza, he's going to be the man to watch on that Kerrigan. Is he going to unfold, once again, those deadly Kerrigan combos in those shrine moments that we all know and love about that hero?
So that is for starters. We already know how crazy Kerrigan can be on this.
Super crazy.
There is another hero who, like we said, is worth pointing out, and that is the Nazebo. And more so, because in the short time we're in that game, I don't know if you saw the level 1 talent, we have a Toad Zebo.
And that's a very good point. We actually missed the chance to talk about it during the draft, but Nazebo has undergone a couple of changes. No longer here are the days where Spider Zebo was the only true build to go. In fact, Toads have overtaken in many games, in many moments where the Toad damage, the zoning potential you can do after stacking them to the fullest is just too strong to be passed on.
The resurgence of the Toads has come back, and as such, it's going to be my first time casting it, so that makes it exciting. I saw it in my game once, so I'm good.
Hey, remember a couple of months ago?
First I casted it with the new build.
Okay.
Because we have been lucky enough to actually have cast Toad Zebo before it was changed.
Exactly.
And it won. That was in HGC China. We do get a bit of variety there.
Exactly.
And now we're going to get to see the lovely Toad Zebo making his way into the Nexus Games Europe.
Yeah, the wild days in HGC China when, the Twin Blade variant was unleashed by Team SBT. So basically, no matter what we see here today, Tetra and I will probably have seen it all. But as you said, those were different days. Those were days where the Toads were kind of bonkers, and I don't think they won with it. But here, Team Belgium has very good cards of really dealing tons of damage with that Toad Zebo build. It's really powerful.
A solid front line, ETC, Uther, and Kerrigan. They can hold the line, potentially protect the Nazebo. And basically, as far as I can tell, Mafurio's job is just going to be heal Nazebo, stop him dying. And, of course, the potential Twilight Dream to counter anyone who dives into the backline, like that Arthas, like that Greymane, like that Sonya. Because Germany's comp is very dive heavy.
It's really good. What I like about Belgium's team composition here in order to support the Nazebo even more is the Malfurion pick. With this trait, with the Innervate, you can really tackle one of Nazebo's greatest weaknesses, which is mana management. He's very mana hungry, especially when you want to use all of your abilities in order to stack up very nicely. Sometimes Nazebos get a little bit too overzealous and they don't really pay attention to their blue bar. Malfurion, hey, he can help out in that regard.
Enter into a team fight. Oh, I have all my stacks and I can do nothing. I was not paying attention. We've all been in that situation.
Yeah.
Once again, this is sort of a bridge between Hero League and professional play. Anyone who's been in Hero League has been in that situation at least once of, oh, I am out of resources.
To quote a good friend of mine, sometimes, you know, your own worst enemy is your own mana bar.
Sometimes your own worst enemy is your own brain when you played Heroes. Same for everyone.
Yeah.
But
by the way, just in case you're wondering why we're not continuing with the game, a player seems to have connection issues, so we're just going to wait a little bit until the player can reconnect. We want to give them a little bit of time, and if things don't get any better, we're going to have to go on a short commercial break, which I actually think we're going to have to do right now, Tetris. So once more, we're going to take our sweet time, but we're not going to let that distract us from staying hyped about Germany versus Belgium. We'll be back in a bit, guys. Welcome back to the European Nexus game, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you could use that small break to maybe get a drink, maybe get a snack or two to stay refreshed and rejuvenated, because you're going to need all that energy for this upcoming best of 3 between Team Germany and Team Belgium. And I've received word that the game stands ready, so we're going to not waste any more moments to steal from your precious time. Bakery's here, by the way. Sorry.
Hi, guys. What's up?
Welcome back. We're going into game. Sorry, Bakery. And we are back into game number 1 of Germany versus Belgium. And it looks like we have just restarted. We will redo the intro for the sake of you guys. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is Germany with Ribby on Lucio, Board on Arthas, Nudia on that Rhaegar. In the mid lane, it is Mix on the Greymane, and at top, it's Brain on the Sonya.
And their opponents in red, Team Belgium. We have Enabler on the Nazeebo, Taloof on ETC, Lenfield is playing that Kerrigan, Heiza, plays the Kerrigan, Lenfield plays Merfurion, and Rabio on the main support on Uther. And really happy about the mount synergy that they've had here.
Yeah, a little bit of money, Pig.
Gotcha.
They're here to play money.
I mean,
I see the comp is money.
I was going to say, they're going to have to prove it first here, ladies and gentlemen, because Kerrigan compositions are not always easy to execute, especially when a player struggles to really get ganks going in the early game. When the game is not running really smoothly in general, it can be sometimes hard to really catch up again. However, if you do have a strong mechanical player like Heiza on that Kerrigan, I'm looking forward to see him execute those skeletons in the Shrine area like there was no tomorrow.
As would I. That sounds really good. Sonya has a similar thing, but Kerrigan is one-shotting skeletons. She can finish off ones that Sonya can drop low. This is why they have such an interesting matchup between the two heroes. One of the other important things, though, that we were, of course, mentioning earlier, but we really should go into a bit more detail, we were talking about the changes to Nazeebo. Now, for those of you who do not know, the new Toad Zeebo build, the level 1 talent Pandemic. After hitting 40 heroes with Plague Toad, it spawns more Toads.
Nice juke here by Nunia. He dodged the Kerrigan combo, but was knocked back by Toulouse ETCW. But his allies are nearby to help him out. Also, towers and forts are really strong in the early game, so you don't want to overcommit here if you're Team Belgium. You're just trying to confuse your opponents. You're trying to cause a lot of havoc, so you can really have those strong rotations in. You don't want to fall behind. And most importantly, you want to give your Nazeebo enough time to really farm his stacks, because as we said multiple times now, that is going to be the quintessence of Team Belgium succeeding later on.
Exactly. Vile Infection will be important at that level 20. There are other options, but it is still the main go-to one. We do also see a little bit of adjustment for BTC. Last ETC we saw was running the Frog Rock. This time, doesn't want to deal with that crazy auto-attack damage that Germany has. It's running the Block Party. And Kerrigan even running a bit of blocking herself.
Now Nunia going in, but no severe damage to be followed up on. Enabler plays is really safe. I like it quite a bit. The problem here with a Pandemic Nazeebo, aka Frog Zeebo, if you send him in a soul lane, you're not going to get that many chances to stack up your Toads, because one hero can really dodge those Toads very easily. So I'm a little bit worried about Nazeebo. Also, look at that level 4 pick here. We see the Blood Ritual Tetcher. More regeneration for Nazeebo, especially when he has to sit a long time in lane.
Exactly. So he's going to be able to get a little bit of extra mana, a little bit of extra health while in that lane. Like you said, it's giving him a lot more sustain, so there's a good chance he will be continuing to rotate.
No Big Voodoo, which is oftentimes considered to be the strongest level 4 talent, especially after the scaling changes to his passive. Kerrigan now helping out Enabler here. Heiza committing pretty hard. I like it. The Arcane Punisher not really doing a whole lot. The second tower even standing very nicely. But look at the German team here. Brain is the only person who was even committed in supporting that push in the top lane. They're focusing on getting value somewhere else. A triple stack here in the middle lane, doing pretty good damage, but failing once again to really get any lasting damage done.
Indeed. But they're doing a lot of scraping the wall. They have yet to really break through and get that initial value, like you said. So Rhaegar, instead, moving off to some mercenary camps, getting value elsewhere for Team Germany. Whereas Belgium, right now, they've actually just been left alone in the bot lane. Merfurion just sucking spec speed for his team.
Yeah, really cool to see a slight deviation here on that ETC build as well. If you compare it to the last game, we see the block talent here at level 1 providing additional protection against auto attacks to nearby allies as well. If you take a look at Team Germany here with the Sonya, with the Greymane, that can actually make a lot of sense, especially since Sonya decided to go for an auto attack related build.
Exactly. Everyone on Team Belgium is invited to the block party, and with that extra loud speakers as well that ETC took at level 4, he's clearly going to try and counteract a lot of this heavy engage and heavy melee potential that Germany is trying to run.
All right, Team Germany, they were able to destroy the first fort of the game. In the meantime, though, Belgium trying to balance things out here. They're about to take down this bottom fort as well, but Germany is relentless. They're not letting go. They're trying to go for the second tower line here as well, and there's only one Nazeebo. There's only so much one Voodoo Doctor can do.
He just dropped some health bars. Pretty low, though. Minx very low in the stun from ETC. Taluf stunning out Brain there, forces to back up into Sonya trying to mount, but the spiders becoming an irritation and preventing him from escaping. Another important talent to mention, Lucio, Sonic Amplifier, not going for the usual party mix.
Yeah,
The
Ribby
extra radius on 2 allies being within his Amp It Up.
Yeah, Ribby trying to find his own path here. I like it. Remains to be seen how impactful that can be. As you said, normally party mix is the way to go. It's a very reliable talent, especially in the later stages of the game when you can really reach people you normally couldn't have reached
He's actually
otherwise.
ulted twice. He's gone for We Move Together at level 1 as well, increasing
That's fine, though.
passive movement speed, extra 5%.
Yeah.
Usually we do see Accelerando, but We Move Together can work, and with this heavy melee comp, this is still very effective. Like, maximum tempo would have been the much more all-in style, but that's not what we are seeing today. We are seeing them just taking little advantages. It's going to combo so well with Arthas, with Sonya, with that Grey Mane.
Before this tournament started here, before the Nexus games had actually commenced, I sat down to Nunia and with Nunia and talked to him a little bit about the current status of the team, and he was like, you know, I'm not really happy with how our training progress went, but I think the team has a lot of potential, and so far Germany is actually holding ground very nicely. They're not falling behind 1 or 2 levels, but that's also pretty good for Team Belgium. They could have been the one to maybe struggle in the early game thanks to the Kerrigan, but they're basically keeping up the pace, and this can only mean good news for future team fights. Now, another Punisher in favor of Germany, though.
Belgium are just currently trying to poke, like we said, they're waiting for the late game, and those Toads of Hugeness that Zebo has are giving them some very effective poke potential. But the question is it worth waiting this long before they're able to do anything? And by doing so, giving up the early game gank potential that Sonya could, that Kerrigan could have potentially offered them. So far, she has not managed to get any of that early gank potential that her and ETC usually would get in this kind of comp.
Exactly. In the meantime, we see Nazebo doing what he does best, trying to steal minion stacks away. And at some point, I think we can maybe take a look at how well he's been stacking thus far, especially once we get closer to 16 and 20, of course. Just in case, guys, you forgot, we need 175. That's very important. Used to be 150, but that's a long time ago.
Heroics available for both teams. Moshpit, Twilight Dream, Divide, Shield, Maelstrom, and Gary, the Gargantuan. Whereas on Germany, we are seeing Ancestral Healing, Wrath of the Berserker, go for the Throat, the Army of the Dead, and the, let's break it down, the Sound Barrier. Germany going for a much more sort of...
ETC going in.
Moshpit gets no one, but it's great for zoning. Brain is zoning. Kerrigan pulls someone in. Mick,
the silence is huge.
Alive. Good Ancestral. Keeping them alive. The silence was huge, but they're all surviving. Born finally dropping down to all of that sustained damage. Uther is doing all the healing he can to try and keep everyone alive. Brain is completely zoned, and we are seeing Belgium tearing through that fight.
I mean, zoning mosh pits confirmed the best ones.
The best
here
ones?
on the Nexus games.
Exactly. We have found out that every time you've seen someone miss a mosh pit, they're just better than you.
Exactly.
That's what we have discovered.
They were outthinking you by at least 2 steps.
And they even got a tiny bit of the edge of it where Kerrigan pulled someone in at the end. Beautiful Twilight Dream though. Once again, Malfurion showing up in this particular match already. Good boot by Lucio, protecting the Rhaegar. Nunia actually just diving past stun there.
Whoa.
Good dodge. He's fine. Nicely done. Good moves by Ribby and Nunia there to not get caught out.
Yeah, huge fight here once again for Team Belgium. They did a wonderful job, and we cannot stress the importance of how crucial it is to win, or at least, you know, trade evenly in those team fights, because time is clicking against the enemy team. Time is ticking against the enemy team. With Nazebo, that late game powerhouse, super good. I also gotta give huge value, huge props once again to Malfurion. I think, just like in the series before we saw with Italy against Finland, Malfurion continues to make all the difference.
Tenfield is doing a good job already. Born, wading through the Gargantuan, is just holding up as a bastion of pain as it is dealing some nice AoE damage and stealing a couple more of those skeletons, a couple more of those cursed minions.
24-16.
Over to Belgium here, who are trying to hold the area. Brain soaking spec speed for his team, trying to rush in towards 13, but if
Kerrigan
for the Belgians here, good science, but it's only on the Sonya, who is actually still alive. Ancestral lands, this could be huge. Divine Shield to keep alive the Kerrigan, as in comes Mix.
Moshpit is ready now.
By the stun. Moshpit is hit to run by the movement of 1-for-1. Mix tries to turn around, but he gets dropped down. Ribby, not enough healing. Nunia was out of position to be able to get the heal, trying to turn around and potentially get to Enabler, as Brain, is doing so much damage. The objective
Belgium
is
got
taken by Belgium, and we see Rabio escaping there. They're trying to chase him down with that speed, and Kerrigan Kerrigan is nowhere to be seen. She had to retreat as Sonya clears out everyone. Kerrigan moves to the bot lane, and Rabio did escape, and they still picked up yet another kill.
Brain on the Sonya here was a depth collector trying to get a couple of kills in. I only got one, but that is enough to basically neglect, or excuse me, to deny all the value that Belgium could have potentially gathered with that with the Punisher push. As such, the Punisher's probably not going to achieve a whole lot. It's distracting Team Germany, which gives enough map space here for Belgium to take all the remaining mercenary camps like this Impaler camp in the bottom. Beautiful fight, though. I think Germany salvaged that situation decently, though. They could have lost it a lot worse.
And the fact that Sonya was able to force the Twilight Dream on one person as opposed to 3
and
this time. And then, of course, Rhaegar, beautiful ancestral healing. Lovely play. Sonya able to turn that around for her team. They could have maybe got an extra kill out of that. They've been able to catch Uther, but they still got more kills. They still were able to make the objective not too valuable. So good job by Germany. They are still a little bit behind the XP, but they have life in them yet.
I gotta say the synergy on the Belgium team here between Taluf and Heiser on the ETC and the Kerrigan is really good. We always see those beautiful engages by ETC laying the foundation here for Kerrigan to follow up on. Do we want to go on Arthas though? I'm not so sure, Tetcher.
Yeah, but Kerrigan is committed to this. He popped the heroic.
Okay.
He's gone. That is now a fairly long heroic, 90 seconds. The Kerrigan will not have that Maelstrom, but Arthas did burn Army of the Dead, and Sound Barrier is now on both on 60-second cooldowns.
And we cannot stress enough how important it is to really manage your long cooldowns in professional play. The moment you trade more efficiently in terms of heroic abilities, you basically won the team fight, even if you didn't kill anyone necessarily. So we see Team Germany going ham on that middle fort. In the meantime, though, we also see Team Belgium getting counter value in the top lane. Team Germany relentless, though. Once again, they Howling Blast ETC here. Taluf takes a little bit of damage, but they need to retreat right now.
Exactly. Taluf has Mosh, Kerrigan is here. The other two members on the way down. They can't afford to hang around this area. This is a risky objective to take, but luckily for them, Nazeebo is taking that top bruiser camp with the help of Malfurion. So they weren't in any particular danger, but without the vision, that was still quite risky.
Now, as we're slowly but surely approaching level 16, I think it would be interesting to take a look at how many stacks Nazeebo was actually able to accumulate already. Because as the enemy team, you always have to assume the worst. Like, you have to be like carefully observing Nazeebo. How much farming was he able to do unpunished, and how aggressively do you need to play as a result? Because the more stacks he's accumulated in the mid game, the more aggressively you need to play, because you can't get to level 20.
Exactly. If our observer would be able to show us that right before this objective spawns, that would be marvelous, so we can see what the progress is for this Nazeebo. He is... Where is he? Oh, we can't see it on that screen, but he's stacked his toads.
Stacked toads. That's still very fine.
That is the wrong screen, but also Arthur's very nearly stacked, and Greymane, so we did learn a lot from that, so that worked out. Thank you, Mr. Observer.
Here we go. Now, Team Belgium in a very strong position here. They have Uther scouting out. Born coming in, though, on that Arthas with a flank. Takes a lot of damage.
He's got Iceman Fortitude, so the stun did not last long. Double silence, grabbing two members. Sonya is shrunk, but still going. Moves into the mosh pit, though, so she loses a lot of her whirlwind. Born is still alive, as Braid is doing huge damage onto the back, like getting turned on.
Oh, the Mystical Spear!
Mystical Spear! Born has escaped, but Greymane's too far forward. As both Sonya and Arthas escaped, Greymane was the one left behind. Brain may die here. No, another Mystical Spear, getting him out of danger. But that was really nicely done for disengages, but unfortunately they abandoned their ally in the process, and Belgium will take yet another Punisher.
Huge win for the Belgium team here. Very well played as well. It's always a risky thing to start your engage on heroes like Sonya and Arthas, but when you manage to keep the enemy team support out of sight and too far away, you can actually put them down to the ground quite heavily. And Heiser on that Kerrigan, landing combo after combo. Massive value from the Maelstrom. Really good showing here by the Belgian team.
And we saw the great focus targeting. Moshpit was dropped. Second, it was Sonya was in position trying to harass Malfurion. What did everyone do? They didn't leave Malfurion to die. They didn't expect him to save himself. They immediately turned around and forced Sonya to escape, which is what put Greymane out of position.
Good bait over the wall here by Arthas, by Born for the German team. What can they do? The Punisher is falling very rapidly, which is good, but they find themselves against a race of time here, with that Nazeebo getting juicier and juicier. It wouldn't actually surprise me if he's already fully stacked, to be honest. Because
he might already be. We will have to see. He has taken Soul Harvest, by the way. Even more ability power.
Yeah, I love it. In my opinion, it's the go-to level 16 talent right now on Nazeebo. There's nothing that can really go wrong here. With the nerf of Spider Colony,
He's surrounded all the time.
Yeah.
He's going to get so much value.
Skeletons in the shrine area. You're always going to have something to sap your stacks from. It works against
it is nearby
summons.
enemy, not
Exactly.
nearby
It
enemy
even works against
hero.
buildings.
Yeah, it works against everything.
Yep.
So that is going to be very, very fun for Nazebo here. Enabler. He doesn't need an enabler at this point. He needs his team.
He's enabling his entire team.
Yeah, he is the enabler. As we see them stealing away the mercenary camp of Germany, that fallen shaman will continue to put some pressure onto that top lane.
Must have an interesting 16 talent here on Lucio. No regenerative Sensa here, which is probably the hardest talent to pronounce.
No, it is in fact not. He instead went for the Bring It Together. So when he is healing 2 or more allies, his healing boost is increased by 45%, which does combo very well with his level 4 talent. Sorry, level 7 talent. So
True.
he is getting some synergy in here.
Yeah.
And to be fair, this would also be a really good combo with either Symphonasia or Devita or Bonus Track. Both of these would actually work really well at level 20.
True.
So he's opened himself up. This build sort of works.
Yeah. Keep in mind that with the Sinestica at level 20, you can potentially have an AoE cleanse against the Mosh Pit team or against the Kerrigan
Very
combo.
true.
Additional cleanses are always a welcome sight when you play against those crowd control heavy team compositions.
It does not work as well against a Mosh Pit team because the Amp It Up simply removes the stun. It does not grant Unstop. So it would not be able to get anyone out of the Mosh Pit, I believe, because Mosh Pit reapplies stuns to people who are in it. But it could be fantastic for Kerrigan stuns or Uther stuns or the Malfurion
Even the roots.
or anything
There we go.
like that. All the silences.
There we go.
It is a full stuns, roots, slows. No silences. Yeah, silences will still be effective by Malfurion.
Gotcha. In the meantime, now a mercenary camp pushing in the middle lane. It's just an Impaler camp, though. No fallen shamans here, so Team Germany is good for now. They managed to establish a nice skull lead here already with the skeletons here. 21 already. But look at that zoning potential by ETC and Kerrigan. They're going in, Danger.
Maelstrom not getting as much value as she'd like. The Mosh Pit is good, though.
Malfurion.
But Arthas stays alive. Malfurion's the first to go.
Oh!
Gets the Centrals. He stays alive as we now see Rabio get blown up as well. We finally see Brain, first one from Germany to drop here. But Germany looked like for a bit they were crushing through this. Enabler gets so much healing, though. That was insane. And Belgium, who looked like they were absolutely destroyed in that fight, stay alive. The two main people, Sonya and the Nazebo there, just sustaining with shields and that perfectly timed Soul Harvest. What a beautiful play to save the Zebo there and let him continue the fight.
Nazebo just went full mode and activated the Soul Harvest, getting himself a huge chunk of HP. That's something many people forget about this talent. Not only does it give you ability power to boost your damage, but it's also going to give you a nice chunk of bonus HP, up to...
Huge heal, basically.
Huge. It's massive. And many people underestimate the power of Nazebo. They're like, oh, we can take that Witch Doctor down. Oh, wait, where did all those health points come from?
Oh, wow. Well, so far we had slight doubts about it, but Belgium, that fight looked so rough for them. I was sure they were gone once the Ancestral landed on Arthas, but the sustain from the Kerrigan and from the Nazebo, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Just absolutely beautiful.
And Belgium is also giving us a masterclass here of how to really utilize that objective to the fullest. Instead of, activating the Punisher and pushing with maybe 50% health, maybe a low mana bar because they had just team fought, they waited at 39 skulls, they went back to base, came back rejuvenated, and now they can push to the fullest. Maybe grabbing a keep, maybe even grabbing the game.
Quite possibly. Here is the attempt. They're going to have all of their heroics. Only 14 seconds until Mosh Pit. Germany, however, have everything as well. They're desperately trying to soak for 20, but Sonya has had to port. She needs to be
look
here.
at those
so they're not
toads. Look at them
soaking
go.
anymore.
Oh, that poison damage. That is the power spike of Nazebo at level 20.
He definitely has viral infection.
Oh, yeah.
He is in a good place right now. And look at this. They're not soaking lanes. They need to do it.
Yeah.
They need to soak off these minions that are killing their keep. Punisher, still very healthy. This
70%.
is the potentially game-ending push.
Mosh Pit.
Gets the Mosh Pit. The boom doesn't land. And goodbye, oh, sound barrier. Rhaegar. Flee, Rhaegar. Flee. He's getting focused so much. The totem finally goes down.
No.
But in the backline, damage is being done to the members of Berlin. But it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Punisher's healthy. Enabler is getting focused. But look at him. He won't die.
No.
The ice block. Full health bars all around. And it's going to be Belgium taking game number 1.
Well played by the Belgium team. That last engage was cookie cutter clean. They waited for the right moment to go, and ETC and Karrigan in perfect synchrony. Uther joining in with a Divine Shield there as well, so that nobody could stop ETC anymore. And Bakery, how did you enjoy that first game?
That was a fantastic game. That was the exact kind of game I was hoping to see from this tournament. There were so many plays, there were so many rules, there were so many times when you thought something was over, and then suddenly Karrigan combos 3 people, you know? So
suddenly Karrigan combos 3 people, suddenly the Zebo had half his health back from that beautiful Soul Harvest, and like you said, it's the kind of games we want to see. Picks that we might not normally see, slightly unexpected, just really impressing us. Players and heroes that we don't normally see putting on a show.
So, what was the major reason for Germany to basically drop the ball in the late game? Was it the Nazebo? Was it sloppiness before, Bakery? What do you think?
I think it's not so much Germany dropping the ball, as Belgium really did step up there. So they definitely just picked comfort, which was a bit worrying, you know? Like, maybe that's not the best thing to do. Like, maybe you should pick meta heroes, but they showed why it works. They knew what they were doing, and as soon as they hit, I'd say after level 18, that was just like step to step to step, game end.
Yeah. And a game that gets Bakery this excited is worth checking replays for. So let's get it done.
So the first replay we got here, they're just pushing top lane. The real story here is in the picture-in-picture where we get the 4. Now here's the zoning mosh pit. Now you think it's bad at first, it's actually really good because it allows the combo onto, out of nowhere the Twilight Dream actually turns this fight completely. Ancestral has to be used not on the Arthas, which is the big issue. Divine Shield comes down to save the Zebo, and this is the beginning of the end for the German team. And from here, Belgium gain a significant lead, going 2-0. However, this sign is the one where Germany get the chance to come back. So lots of people are already dead. They secure the last hit on the sign, and Nazebo and Uther are trying desperately to get out. Fantastic play from Rebier, holding the hill for the last second. As soon as the W is pressed on Sonya, he presses his own Q, saves him, and baits them in. So here we look at a fight on the sign. So Mouth makes a bit of a mistake here at first getting speared, but he makes up for it with a fantastic science. The mosh pit catches 2. Now, they can't decide, do we focus Arthas or Sonya? They decide for Sonya, so he escapes out with the Mystical Spear. However, Greymane does end up a bit too deep, so it's crazy back and forth fights. I'm having a tough time even keeping up with them. So again, Kerrigan combo doesn't quite land. Mouth gets interrupted actually by the Lucio boot. Fantastic play from Ribby. And his silence does not go off, and that puts Belgium in a terrible position. But out of nowhere, look at this combo. Like, completely insane combo from Heiser, and then the Zebo as well, just completely cleaning everything up. Uther does die, he doesn't have 20 yet, so he doesn't come back, but he still gets to get the hills out. And this is the fight that won the game for Germany. So really action-packed replays there.
I was so sure Germany had won that fight. I was so sure. They blew up Malfurion seconds before his Twilight Dream came off cooldown. If that had been available, Germany would have got completely trashed. And I was like, that's it. They've got it. They're focusing Malfurion, and then, like you said, as they're focusing the Zebo, sorry, and then Kerrigan lands the combo, kills a couple of minions, Zebo gets health from that, his Soul Harvest gets health from that. Literally everything went right in that one moment for Belgium to turn it around.
Yeah, absolutely insane. The thing that got me really excited as a support main was seeing Ribby on that Lucio. He almost made the game-winning play. He interrupted Malfurion for what would have been like a 5-man silence, possibly. He interrupts it, and it looks like they're going to win the fight. But as you said, Nazebo clutches it out. Kerrigan hits the awesome combos, and somehow Belgium survive.
And we're also going to have to give a lot of credit to Enabler, not just for playing a wonderful Nazebo, but also for, recognizing the signals of time. He goes for the Toad Zebo, doesn't get stuck in any other old school builds, old-fashioned builds. Toad Zebo is the way to go right now, and we saw exactly why. Soul Harvest, pretty good talent too.
Yeah, I mean, it's an underrated talent for sure. It might not be for long after that game.
I mean, especially against quadruple melee. Toads and
he got a lot of value from fucking that for sure.
Yeah. But now